Welcome to the What Now podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Powers. Follow along as I figure out how to go from feeling lost and at a crossroads in my life to hopefully, eventually, being found. If you have ever felt like you needed a change or pivoting from your current experience is necessary, but you just don't know how, join me. Wanderers are always welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome to What Now, podcast for Lost and Found. This is your host, Amanda. I am so excited to be here. And in the beginning of January 2025, it's so exciting. A whole brand new year is here, and it's already 12 days in. So we're recording on Sunday, January 12th. And I appreciate everybody's patience. We're slowly moving back into a real routine of recording and getting episodes out there. And I have so many ideas of lots of things that I would like to say or do in the month of January. And I felt a bit, not necessarily chaotic, but a little bit sporadic. And like, I have so many things I want to say that I don't really know what to say, like, or I can't narrow it down. So almost like they use this in the dating world, the debilitation of choice. When you have so many options, you can't make a choice because there's too many, so you can't decide which one's the best one to go with. So I was struggling a bit to come up with what it is that I wanted to kick off the year with. And to be quite honest, I have been focused on the show, and I have been focused on it when I have the time to hunker down with it, but I'm focusing on other aspects of growing the business. So ideally building up a YouTube channel, building up paying for a website. So getting a friend of mine to help me with development and getting the word out there and building the brand awareness, and getting back in touch with a media booker to try and plan some in-person interviews in Nashville, and finding a studio where I could rent out that space, and making sure that I'm planning ahead financially to spend that kind of money in order to add more guests and make it a very professional looking show. You got to invest a bit more money. So I've been really hunkering down, quite honestly, trying to learn all the things that I don't know still. So building studio relationships, trying to actually calculate what would the finances need to be to prep for the year, to kind of push out, like, this is what the bare minimum I can get away with if I want to invest this much. This is the middle of the road where it'll look good. I can do it enough. I think I can get a momentum going, but it won't be all the bells and whistles. And then there's all the bells and whistles price, and kind of trying to reconcile which tier of investment do I want to make? Which one is the smart one to make right now? What can I do? What can I not do? And so I have been working on the show. The YouTube page is live, but I'm just putting up shorts right now, so it's not the actual full episodes. I was in touch with my graphic designer, and bless her heart, she, unfortunately, some of her equipment was destroyed during the Christmas break, and she lost some of my assets. And so she's starting over on a couple of things. So we haven't actually finished the branding the way that I thought we could to launch in the beginning of the year. So we're living in a halfway point. In my brain, in my mind, I know what future Amanda and future show looks like, and what it's called, and what it sounds like, and how I want it to feel for everyone. But right now we're still living in the original idea, which is the what now? The what now branding, which is okay. We're building relationships and recognition, and you're watching a woman grow in real time and expand and make mistakes and learn lessons, and not necessarily change my identity, but fulfill my purpose. And so part of that, I think a lot of you probably can relate when you are trying to figure out what it is your purpose in life is, or at this current season in your life, what is it? What are you drawn to? What are you excited about? What lights you up? Sometimes those things change and evolve. So we're still living in a level of evolution. But because I was trying to handle all of that the first 2 weeks of January, go to all these meetings, starting to write up like an investment proposal plan for the business plan and whatnot, it's just taken my attention away from recording. And as I've said before, I don't ever want to come on here and feel like what I'm talking to you about feels forced, or it feels fake, or it feels disingenuous in terms of my mindset in that moment. I've wanted to treat this project as an open diary, and that way you can follow along and understand exactly who I am as a person and what it is that I'm thinking about and doing. So hopefully with the intention of seeing yourself in my shoes or being able to relate to what I've said because it hits you at a certain point in your life. I don't believe that I'm saying anything more profound than the other mindset and motivation and lifestyle coaches and authors, researchers, podcasters, interviewers, all those people that work in the self-help, wellness, purpose-related industries. A lot of the ideas that are being spread around and shared in this particular space in podcasting, a lot of the ideas repeat. It's how these interviewers or how these particular individuals, these leaders in these spaces decide to interpret that information and then re-explain it back to you that makes it unique. And sometimes I can say the exact same thing that Lewis Howes says or Jay Shetty says or Mel Robbins might say, and for whatever reason, it'll hit you at that moment, at that exact place and time. And that's kind of what I've had to remind myself lately about, is that when I'm doing research for my topics and I'm trying to come up with dream guests and I'm learning about what it is that I want to talk about and what have I found useful that has helped me in my path, I'm noticing that there's a whole lot of patterns, a lot of shared space. And that's great because that makes me realize, okay, I don't have to feel bad about whether or not what I'm saying is new or insightful. I have to care about what I'm saying is truthful to me at this exact moment in my life. So all that to say, well, again, my dad made a comment the other day that sometimes these podcasts are rambling on in sections, and so I'm sorry. I don't have an exact outline for what it is I wanted to say today, but the point is that if it ever looks like I'm slowing down right now or I'm not putting information out as consistently as I was during a certain period or a certain season of the show, most of that has to do with just actual physical timing, being able to time out in my off hours, in my free time, recording an episode and getting it edited, since I'm doing it all on my own right now, and then making sure that what I want to say is consistent with how I'm actually feeling, and that I'm going to do my absolute best to never just push shit out for the sake of pushing it out, right? Like I understand not every episode's going to be a banger. Like not every episode's going to be like, oh, that was amazing. That was so insightful. Can't believe it. She just changed my life with everything she said. Like, nah, I'm not I'm not vain enough to believe that, but it can get overwhelming sometimes when you're trying to do something you've never done before for the first time, and you want the excitement to outweigh the anxiety, right? So that's where I'm at. My goal, of course, is to put out at least one episode a week for 2025. Ideally, 1 week it's me, 1 week it's a guest, 1 week it's me, 1 week it's a guest, and then kind of rotate from there, which I think would be a lot of fun. It'd be way more engaging. You would get to meet more people that operate in this type of space. You would get to learn more about their what now moments and their lost moments and how they became quote unquote found. And hopefully by listening to their story, you and I can glean some guidance or advice for how to implement their tips and tricks into our own lives. So that's what I've been wanting to do. So I'm sorry if I have felt a bit absent from the space while I am trying to figure out how to do that in the best way possible. But that's kind of the catch up of where I'm at with the show. Obviously, I got back from my vacation. I went to my family's for Christmas, got to see my brother and my grandparents, and that was really great. And now we're back home. Didn't do anything in particular for New Year's. I liked being at home where there were no crowds, no lines, and clean bathrooms. All the alcohol that I wanted was free. So I stayed home, didn't do anything special. I've been trying to see some more friends that I haven't seen in a while since I've been gone so much at the end of the year. So had dinner with my friend Sarah. My friend Lewis came in town and he dropped off some wine. My secret wine distributor came to visit me. Picked that up. My good friend Stevie, who you may have listened to before if you're new here to the show. I've interviewed my best friend from high school. She and I have known each other since we were about 13, 14 years old. And I've interviewed her, I think, 3 times now on the show. And it's always fun. It's such a joy to catch up with her and see her. But she is now a mom. She's a first-time mom to her brand new baby, Gavin. He was born on New Year's Day, so he is a Capricorn baby, just like his mama and his auntie, Amanda. Super cute, so sweet. I'm very excited for her and her husband, Ryan. So congratulations to Stevie. And as we record, today is January 12th, but yesterday was her birthday. So happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to Stevie. By the time this episode comes out, it'll definitely be a belated birthday, but I'm sorry. I love you. Don't hate me. But yeah, so that was exciting. I'm hoping I can go down to see her soon, maybe later in the spring, maybe March or April-ish. I know obviously the mothers want to go first and be there and support, so I can come later on. But so excited for her, very happy for her. As far as I know, everything was okay and healthy and good to go. But we will leave that birth story for another day. Now that we've gone through and caught up on everything, let's jump into the topic of the day, which is how to shift your mindset when you are worried about other people's success paralyzing you. When you're pursuing a new goal, or you're trying to reach this new identity, or you're pursuing your life's purpose and you worry about whether or not what you're doing is unique or new or special or going to break through somehow, but you're too afraid to try because you don't think that it is, or you don't have enough confidence in yourself, or you're struggling with setting even other minor goals and whatnot. So you think, well, if I'm failing at all these other little things, then I'm never going to be able to accomplish my big thing. So today, that's what I would like to discuss. So let's get into it. All honesty on the table, right? All cards on the table. Today is actually not really a day where I'm feeling at my best either. If it feels like my attitude or my tone right now is not hyper positive like usual, it's honestly, it's because I don't really, it's kind of like what I discussed earlier in the opener, where I talked about being so hyper focused on other details of the show. So I've been a little bit distracted, but then two, I've just not been feeling great this weekend. We've had, if you're in the Nashville area, there was a huge snow. So we had like about 4 to 6 inches that came in over the weekend. So it got very cold very quickly. It's, it's dark early. I've been feeling run down. It's, a hormonal week for me. So there's cramps. I'm not sleeping well. And it's made it harder for me to show up for myself. And that's in almost all aspects. So it's the very beginning of the year. Everybody and everything is trying to sell you on, new year, new you, new year, same powerful you, new year, a new image, new year, new goals, new year, another chance to improve or progress in your path. And everybody gets very ambitious in the beginning, right? Like you have that momentum. You just left the holidays. You want nothing more than to just be alone and get into your own routine and establish yourself and get well and show up for yourself. And it's really hard to do that when you don't feel great and when you're feeling a whole bunch of pressure coming from all sorts of directions, whether that's from your family or from your spouse or your partner, from work, from society telling you what you should and should not do, what you should and should not look like. It's a lot to take in, and it's really hard to sometimes sift through all of that information and find what actually applies to me and what can I actually use that's going to help me do what I want to do or help me feel like the best version of myself. Even if I'm not hitting all the goals that I've set so far, what can I do so I can at least stay on track or find a way to get back on track? And so just for me, for transparency, like I started a new fitness program. As you may know, I talked about it back in October, but Danielle Wilson opened a new app. She started her own fitness app for people to join. So I've been following along with the workouts on that, but I haven't done it exactly every single day since it launched. I do my best to get them in, but sometimes I don't. Like sometimes the only exercise I get in is taking Dirks on his walks because I'm so bogged down with my own job, or I'm hyper focused on the podcast. So I'm researching, I'm editing, I'm sitting at my desk. I'm just not getting into the movement. And then when I went on that trip with my friends, I was gone for 3 weeks and we definitely did not work out anywhere near the amount that I normally do when I'm at home. So then I get back home and then I'm immediately going to Christmas time with my family. And we're sitting around and drinking and eating and hanging out and not not everybody in my extended family also has a very fit related life. Besides my brother and his wife, they go to CrossFit almost every day. So I props to them. But so I've been struggling personally with my own fitness. So if you're struggling with your fitness in the beginning of the year, don't feel bad. As somebody that's been off and on in the gym for the last, consistently in the gym, that's an oxymoron. How are you off and on and claiming to be consistent? I am consistently off and on in the gym, aka I have seasons of when I do really well and I'm super proud of myself, and then other seasons where I'm like, yeah, I didn't go for a month. Oops. What happened? Yeah, that happens all the time. So struggling with your fitness. I've been struggling with judging myself with the podcast. Again, doing all the research like usual. I'm getting so many targeted ads on Instagram and TikTok and now YouTube and stuff as well too, where people are trying to send me all of their, buy this tutorial, watch this webinar, join my masterclass, pay XYZ for how to build a brand. I can help you with booking. I can help you with selling your service on other podcasts. I can help you with pitching. I can help you with et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm getting all of this influx of information because I clicked on probably one post or I looked at somebody's one commercial one time all the way through, and now you get targeted by all the other businesses that are also competing for your attention for that. And it's a lot. And it's a lot to the point that it started to make me feel like, oh my God, if there's this many people online that know how to do it and they've all allegedly cracked the code, how come I can't crack the code? Why is it not so obvious to me? If they're able to crack the code and they're selling all these toolkits, why can't I just figure it out and do it for myself? Why do I have to buy 6 or 7 different people's toolkits to all figure out it's all the same information, or to all figure out that like it's actually not applicable to me because a lot of it's like, this is how you should start a podcast. Well, it's like, I've already done it. I need to find somebody that's a mid-tier level advertiser or something that's like, all right, you've been doing this for a year, but your growth is slow. This is how we can help you. Or your growth, you're reaching some people, but not everybody that you want to. Here's how to do more targeted items or strategy, whatever. Like, I don't know, but it can get very, very overwhelming when you're online too much. And the business that I'm trying to break into is very much online constantly. So it's been a weird fine line where I've been trying to figure out, how do I get what I need and spend an efficient amount of time on the internet without getting bogged down and get my dopamine all fucked up by getting all these pings and these ads and these colors and these lights, and not have it start to mess with my anxiety or my fear or my self-judgment. It's been weird. It's been an odd way to operate. And then as I do that, I also just start to feel kind of silly online, a little bit like we talked about in the beginning of the show here, that sometimes I come on here and I worry that what I'm saying doesn't actually have any impact, or I worry that what I'm saying isn't unique or special, or why would anybody want to come to my show? And I realized that mentality, if I'm already even remotely staring down that rabbit hole, maybe I'm on the edge of that rabbit hole, but I'm not in that rabbit hole yet. If I'm even remotely acknowledging that rabbit hole, I got to find a way to pull back. I got to run in the other direction. I've got to keep practicing acknowledging when that anxiety and when that self-doubt pops up, because if I let it linger for too long, I'm going to end up standing in my own way. And I can't forget that just because it's January 2025, October 2023 Amanda would be insanely proud, because October 2023 Amanda emotionally was having a really hard time keeping it together. She was depressed. She was sad. She didn't know where else to turn. And the only thing she knew to do was to tell the truth, tell her story, tell her version of whatever life was like at that moment, in the hopes that it would help. If it helped her feel better, she did it out of the hopes that it would help somebody else feel better too. So I can't let myself get entranced by all the ads and the targeted communications that are going on right now, that are jumping on the brand new year, new you bandwagon. And we're going to call it new year, new you, because that's just like the umbrella term for New Year's resolution kind of situation. In the beginning of the year, people always want to take advantage of that, because that's when people are allegedly trying to make themselves better. They're setting new goals. And that's the time when people can take advantage of that vulnerability, when you don't know what to do and you don't know where to start, or you're at the very beginning and you want the guidance. And so I have to remind myself that I'm not at the beginning anymore, or at least not the very beginning anymore. I've been around the block. I've made some mistakes. I've learned from them. That means I've moved forward. I've followed through on something that I told myself you needed to. So I'm not as naive anymore, I guess. So I have to remind myself that when I start to feel that way, or when I start to give in to the fear or the anxiety, that I'm ending up standing in my own way. And there's already going to be enough people in this world that are going to tell me no. There are already going to be enough people in this world that want to make fun of my dream, that probably see me post about the show and they're like, oh, she's still doing that. Or there's probably people in this world that are like, I don't know why she, I don't know why she thinks she's a Mel Robbins. I don't know why she thinks she's an Alexander Cooper. Or, I don't know why she thinks she's a blah, 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 Caitlin Bristow, or a Him and Her podcast, or she's definitely not a Heather McMahon. And I know that. I'm not funny. I mean, I'm kind of funny, but not in the way that an actual comedian is, where she can just spitball for an hour and come up with killer jokes just off the top of her head. That's not me. I know that, right? Like, no one, I highly doubt any of you come to the show to laugh. Or if you do, it's an unexpected laugh, but I was listening to some podcasts recently, and there's a lot of shows that I listen to just because, for fun. And then there's shows that I listen to try and find new guests. And so for fun, over the last week, I was listening to some episodes that talked about mindset shifts. And in particular, it's the beginning of the year. You're anxious. You want to start fresh. You want to start new, whether that's in your relationships, your health and wellness, your career, whatever. How do you combat those feelings of anxiety and being less than everybody else that's already in the field, or everybody else that's already more perceived to be further along than you? How do you fight that? And so I was listening to some podcast episodes, and Mel Robbins is a motivational speaker, author, podcaster, researcher, expert in the field of behavioral activations. And she wrote a book recently called The Let Them Theory. And she's on a book tour right now and doing interviews on different podcast shows. And so she came up on, obviously, she has her own show, the Mel Robbins podcast. And then she has, I saw 3 interviews where she was on the Him and Her show, Off the Vine with Caitlin Bristow, and the U Up podcast with Jared Freed and Jordana Abraham. And on all 3, she talked about different things, right? Still circling around her book, The Let Them Theory. And again, I am paraphrasing all of this, but like for the U Up podcast, she talked about it in terms of dating, like how to use the Let Them Theory in relation to your romantic relationships and how to make decisions about what to do when you're feeling anxious or fearful or insecure in a romantic partnership. In Off the Vine, she talked about goal setting and how to not let other people's judgment of your goal prevent you from reaching your full potential. And then on her own show, she talks about all kinds of things from improving your brain, your cognitive functioning, your behavioral habits, your mindsets, how to stay focused on your goals, how to achieve certain goals, whether they're financial or business related, and interviews other people that have found a way to engage with their life's purpose and help others through that purpose. Anyway, and so in one of her interviews, she admits that when she was, I think about 10, 15 years ago, she had been in debt. She was drinking too much. She was in deep debt with her husband. Their restaurant business had failed. They were worried about how they were going to make ends meet. And she was watching all these other people around her in her previous life not have these kinds of problems. And she was trying to figure out a way to implement, at the time she didn't realize it, but trying to implement her let them theory. So instead of resenting other people for being more successful or not having the same kind of detrimental mistakes that she had, she would go, I could watch them and say, fuck that. I'm not going to stand in my own way anymore. I'm not going to let other people's success paralyze me. I should look at them and admire what they've done well and understand what they've not done well, because then I can let them lead the way down this path that I want to go down. But then it's going to be up to me to take the actions that I need to take in order to make my dream come true or make my dream life come to fruition. I really took that to heart because I've talked about this several times. I'm sure y'all have noticed I admit to being insecure when I want to start this kind of dream that I don't know if I can make it happen, but it feels so exciting to think that it can, especially because I have a very clear vision of who future Amanda is and the show and what it looks like and it sounds like. And I think I truly am delusional enough to think that I can make this come to fruition, but it's really hard to not judge myself throughout the entire process when I'm watching all these other successful podcasts take off and be like #1 on the charts or top 10 on the charts, or they all get to interlope and interview each other, and that's how they kind of share guests and affirmations and bookings and a collective community, because everybody listens to a lot of the same people. And it's like, I can do that. I believe in myself. I think I can get there. But instead of sitting in the suck and letting their success paralyze me and trick me into believing that, oh, I don't have anything you need to say. They've already said it all. I don't have anything that I can contribute. They've already done it all. They've already all written all the books. They've already all contributed to your financial health, your behavioral changes, your anxiety and confidence booster tips and whatnot. And it's kind of like, all right, fine. Yeah, they have. Of course, they've been in the industry longer. They've got more experience than you, but like, do what Mel said. Let them be successful. Their success is not a detriment to my own. I should let them lead the way and then let me take the actions that I need to take in order to join them. My path won't look like theirs, and it was never meant to look like theirs. And I think that's what brings my unique perspective and my unique sliver of, or slice of this pie in this space, in this future industry that's, still growing. Like, I don't have to succumb to that anxiety feeling or that judgmental feeling of myself. I can let them lead the way, but I have to let me take the actions. They're not going to do it for me. Nobody's going to open a door for me necessarily. Like, I shouldn't have, and you shouldn't either. If you're hoping to start your own makeup company, to open your own restaurant or a food truck, if you're hoping to break into real estate and you want to be a top salesman for whatever region or state you live in, go for it, man. Like, there's been a bunch of people there's hundreds, if not thousands, of makeup brands all over the world. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of real estate agents all over the country in the United States. There's brand new restaurants in Nashville popping up, I think, every week. So the concepts are none of it's new, but there are people that have paved the road before you. And I think it would be the smart move, the advantageous move, to study that, learn from them, do the research, pitch yourself to them, offer what you have, and, keep grinding out there for whatever it is that you think that you want. Like, go learn from the best of the best. You want to be the best? Isn't that like oh man, y'all definitely don't come here for the sports references either, but I have this vague memory or a vague quote that, like, if you want to get better at your specific sport as an athlete, you have to play against other people that are better than you. You can't become the ultimate tennis champion of the world or the ultimate footballer of the world if you're not attempting to play against the best of the best, or learn from the best of the best, or go to the schools that they went to, or find the coaches that they had, or whatever it might be. You want to get better at something. You don't get better by competing with people that don't do as well as you or that are a tier or two below you. All that does is give you a fake ego boost that's not going to last very long to make you feel like you're doing better. But the truth is, sometimes you got to get your ass handed to you before you learn or pick up that new skill. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I know that I am just starting out, and I've already admitted to you that, like, I can't show up perfectly every day, but what I can do is show up. It's not going to be epic major changes that happen by next month. It's going to be small decisions every single day that I make, and those actions build up over time. And that's what's going to help me get that seat at that table, or set up my own table, honestly, and go from there. But if you are starting out, you're 2025 and you're growing your business, you're restarting your fitness journey, you are looking for love, you are considering releasing music that your secret hobby that you've loved for so long, or your art that you've wanted to put out there and you've been too afraid to do it because you're afraid of the judgment or you're afraid of what other people in the industry who've already done it before you are going to do or say. The truth is, when you worry about that too much, you are standing in your own way, and you've got to stop letting other people's success in the area that you want to be a part of paralyze you from doing what it is that you dream of or doing what it is that you know you're capable of. Because I don't think the universe would put that vision on your heart or on your mind if that vision wasn't meant to come to something, right? Why else would you have that same reoccurring dream? The next time your brain starts to tell you that you're behind, or you're not learning it fast enough, or, oh, you missed a day in the gym, you're a fat ass, like whatever it is, or you're never going to be able to get that business or that idea off the ground because nobody would buy a product from you for whatever reason. Either you don't seem reliable or you don't seem believable or whatever the hell. If you know deep down in your heart that the purpose you are trying to serve with your product or your service is to the betterment of others, you've got to keep going. You cannot let other people's no's stop you. And you cannot let other people's success paralyze you, because there's already going to be plenty of people that want to say no to you. There's already going to be plenty of people in the world that doubt you. There's already going to be plenty of people in the world that don't believe in you. The last person in the world that should never stop believing in you is yourself. And I know that sounds clumsy as I'm saying it, and I'm trying to figure out a better way to say it, but that was my takeaway from this past week when I was doing podcast research and I was listening to these shows, and I'll link them in the description notes if you want to listen to Mel's interviews and like pull your own takeaways from her discussions about the let them theory. But it really hit me and was helpful to me this week when I heard that, because I needed to remind myself, I need to let those other people be successful and be proud of their success and learn from what they've done. So that way I can go down the path. I need to let them lead the way and let me start taking the actions. And I am, right? When I start doubting myself, or I start judging myself, or I start letting all that anxiety overwhelm me through social media, just reminding myself that, hey, you've already done it. You've already made it past 20 episodes, and 1% of all the millions of podcasts that exist out there make it past 20. You have already joined the elite of the elite. Now, it's still incredibly competitive here inside that 1%, and I'm going to have to keep fighting my way through it, but I've already shown up. I can keep showing up. I don't have to let other people's success paralyze me, and I don't think you should either. So, this is the beginning of the year. This is your new year, new you, new year, new ambition, new year, new business idea, new year, new hobby you're going to build, new year, new habits you're trying to form. Awesome. New year, new learning stage. Great. I think every single one of us, no matter how famous you get or how successful you are or how knowledgeable you are, there's always something left in the world for you to learn. And anybody that tells you they know everything already, I wouldn't trust them. It sounds like a dangerous person, a dangerous ego to play with. But you are not behind like your brain might say. You are exactly where you need to be, which in January of 2025, that is your learning stage. It is your habit forming stage. And that's the great part about a new year, is that you can start all of these small changes right now and build it into your daily habits, just like I'm trying to do. So for me, going to sleep on time, fixing my sleeping habits, making sure I'm eating well, making sure I'm doing at least something with my body, even if it's only walking Dirks, getting on a fitness routine, making sure I'm in my gym again, taking care of my supplements, drinking the creatine and all that. Getting on the podcast, recording, scheduling guests for when I'm able to get them in and when I can afford to take them to the studio, setting up that website, making building blocks, doing the YouTube channel, even if the videos are silly, whatever. It's showing up at all that matters. Taking all these teeny tiny steps to build my foundation for a better business in the future, a better brand in the future. That's what's crucial. And if you're not in a podcast and you're not on the internet or trying to pursue I'm not trying to be an influencer by any means, but take whatever your goal is. If you're not a podcaster like me, you don't have to say that none of this applies to you. Switch it up. If yours is about, I'm tired of being in crappy relationships where I don't feel valued or equal or respected, this year you're going to say, all right, I'm going to be a purposeful dater. I'm going to be intentional and actionable and follow through on my desires. I want to fall in love. I want to find a partner, and I want, to be married with kids. Okay, great. If that's what you want, this year when you date in 2025, you ask the questions that help you get those answers. You be direct about what it is that you want and how you feel and what you're looking for. And if you meet someone that doesn't align with those things, or they disrespect you in some kind of way, you let them. You let their behaviors show you who they are, and then you compare that behavior to your list. And if that doesn't match, you move on. You don't waste time on things that don't make sense for your ultimate goal anymore. You don't hold resentment to them. You don't hold grudges against them. You don't guilt trip them. You just let people be who they are and show you who they are. And then you make the decision to move forward with that information or not. If you are trying to start a new business and you've got a product idea and you think it could be really good and could be really helpful for people, do the research about other people in that industry. If you're trying to find a manufacturer, call everybody that you know that could possibly be involved with that manufacturing business. See if you can find someone that can help you get samples of the product that you're trying to go for. Take the time to believe in yourself enough to actually go, I can do this. I can build this out. I can piece this together because I know what the end result looks like. And I can work backwards. That's how you're going to build your confidence. That's how you're going to acknowledge your capability. Visualize what your end goal is and work your way backwards towards that. And by building those daily habits every day that help you support that goal, you're going to get there. And I'm saying this mostly because I need to remind myself, you cannot let other people's success paralyze you. Use it to your advantage. Learn from it. Expand upon it, and then if you're lucky, you'll be able to use it as a jumping off point. But I love you. I mean it. I am so grateful for all of you that are here. I hope all of you had a wonderful 2024, and for some of you where 2024 really sucked, I am so sorry. I wish I could give you a big hug and an ice cream sundae or anything, whatever it would be that would help you feel better. Please know that I'm sending you so much love and care. And for anybody that's just going through it right now, whether you're in California or Carolinas or Florida, all these natural disasters that have been going on with the fires and the flooding and just utter chaos. I know that the world is not in an excellent place, but just remember to be kind to one another and reach out and help one another. And oftentimes, if you're feeling lost and just kind of floating around with whatever it is that you're going through the motions on, sometimes one of the ways to feel grounded and back to earth and connected again is to just do something in the service of others. Help a neighbor out, donate to a good cause, take people in, smile at the other person in the coffee line. Be open to opportunities and interactions that you wouldn't normally expect. And I think you'd be surprised with how much love and light that might bring to you. But that's all I have for you today. I'm so excited to get, 2025 kicked off. We've got a lot of great things coming. More guests, more manifesting, more just general excitement to grow together. And I'm so excited to bring you on this journey. And I hope that all of my wanderers out there are doing great. Next week's episode, or the next coming days, it'll be my birthday again, January 16th, soon. So we're going to do another episode where I read all of your questions. We'll do a Q&A. Maybe I can get a cupcake for me and Dirks, and we'll eat cupcakes on the show and answer everybody's questions. So we'll do another birthday Q&A later this week. So look out for that, and I will catch up with all of you soon. I hope you have a wonderful week, and stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors, your family, and your friends, people that you love and that matter to you. Look out for one another. And just remember, like, subscribe, leave a review, share the episodes with your friends, share the show with your friends, tag us on social media. Anytime you guys do that, I absolutely love it. I read all the messages. I appreciate you so much. And I'm so honored to have you here and supporting me. And it means the absolute world. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to truly express the depth of my gratitude, but I sure as hell I'm gonna try for the rest of my life. So thank you to all the wanderers, and remember, wanderers are always welcome.